Welcome, my friend. What if I told you that your biggest breakthroughs in life won't come from obsessing over your problems, but from learning how to shift your focus to the solutions? This book isn't just another motivational speech or surface-level advice. It's a practical, powerful guide to train your mind to think in terms of answers, not obstacles. It's about unlocking the most effective mindset you can develop in today's fast-paced, often chaotic world, a solution-oriented mindset. Here's a truth you might already feel deep down. Problems are everywhere. In your job, in your relationships, in your health, your finances, your goals. But focusing all your mental energy on those problems doesn't solve them. It only makes them heavier. It makes you feel stuck. It clouds your creativity. And it drains your energy. But there's a better way. This book is your roadmap to that better way. You'll learn how to train your mind to look beyond what's wrong and start thinking, what can I do now? Instead of saying, this is too hard, you'll learn to ask, how can I make this work? That one shift changes everything. It turns victims into leaders. It transforms stress into clarity. It replaces frustration with empowerment. Over the coming chapters, we'll dive into real tools, mindsets, and mental habits that help you stay in the driver's seat of your life. You'll discover how to rewire your brain to see possibilities instead of problems. Why asking better questions leads to faster breakthroughs. How to handle stress, doubt, and negativity with solution-focused thinking. And how to train yourself to become the kind of person who always finds a way. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about refusing to stay stuck in them. It's about taking control, building confidence, and learning how to solve anything life throws your way. Whether you're facing personal challenges, professional stress, or simply want to become more mentally resilient and focused, this audiobook is your toolkit. And now, let's begin. Chapter 1. The Problem with Focusing on Problems. Most people live their lives in reaction mode. Something goes wrong, and they immediately dwell on it. They analyze it, overthink it, complain about it, and replay it again and again in their minds. They fall into a loop. Why did this happen? Why me? What now? They become consumed by the issue. But here's the thing. The more you focus on a problem, the more power you give it. It becomes the centerpiece of your mental and emotional energy. It grows larger, more stressful, and it blocks your ability to see the way out. Let's be clear, there's a massive difference between acknowledging a problem and obsessing over it. Acknowledging a problem is important. You can't solve what you ignore. But obsessing over a problem? That's like trying to drive forward while staring into the rearview mirror. You're not going anywhere. Here's what happens when you focus on problems. You create mental paralysis. The more you think about the problem, the more overwhelmed you feel. You freeze up. You stop taking action. And action is the only thing that can create change. You attract negativity. Your thoughts affect your energy. When your mind is stuck in what's wrong, your mood follows. You start to feel defeated. Negative thinking invites more negative outcomes. You miss opportunities. While you're busy staring at the wall in front of you, you don't notice the door that's wide open beside you. Your brain can't spot solutions when it's occupied with stress. Think about a time in your life when something felt completely stuck. Maybe it was a financial problem, a relationship that wasn't working, or a career decision that felt impossible. Now think about how much time you spent thinking about how bad it was versus how much time you spent actively brainstorming ways to solve it. For most people, it's not even close. So why do we do it? Why do we obsess over problems? Because it's easier. That's the uncomfortable truth. It takes no effort to complain. It takes no strength to feel sorry for yourself. It takes no energy to keep talking about how bad things are. But finding solutions? That requires intention. creativity, patience, focus, action. It requires leadership, self-leadership. And that's why most people stay stuck. But not you. You're here because you're ready for a shift. You're ready to stop playing small and start thinking smart. You're ready to retrain your brain to become a solution seeker, not a problem dweller. That's the mindset of growth, of progress, of success. Now let me introduce a powerful truth that will guide you through the rest of this audiobook. You are not defined by the problems you face, but by the solutions you choose to create. That is where your power lies. In every difficult situation, there's always one of three things you can do. Change it. Sometimes, the problem is within your control. You can make a decision, take an action, speak up, or shift direction. You can fix it. Accept it. Some problems can't be changed. In those cases, peace comes from acceptance and choosing your attitude toward it. You can choose your response, even if you can't choose the situation. Leave it. Sometimes, the most powerful move is to walk away. From a toxic environment. From a dead-end plan. From something that no longer serves your growth. In every case, there is a solution-focused path. The key is learning how to find it. So how do we begin? The first step is awareness. You must become aware of your current thought patterns. Are you spending more time thinking about the problem, or about possible solutions? Are you waiting for something to fix itself, or are you taking ownership of what you can control? Start to notice. That moment you catch yourself spiraling into stress, ask, am I focusing on the problem, or am I working on a solution? That single question creates a pause. And in that pause is your power. You'll learn to reframe situations, to ask better questions, to take smarter action, and to build the mindset of someone who doesn't get stuck, but gets moving. And that's what the next chapter is all about, rewiring your mindset. Because focusing on solutions is not just about what you do, it's about how you think. Let's dive in. Chapter 2. Rewiring your mindset for solutions. Let's start with a bold statement. Your mind is not fixed. It's programmable. You are not stuck with the way you currently think. Your brain is not a finished product. It's a work in progress. And that is incredibly empowering. Because if you've been trained, by school, by society, or even by your upbringing, to focus on problems, you can retrain yourself to think differently. To think like a solution seeker. But here's the key, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. It happens by intention. And it begins with one of the most important skills you'll ever develop. Mental awareness. Let's talk about that. Awareness. The first step to rewiring. Before you can change how you think, you have to notice how you currently think. Do you constantly replay problems in your mind? Do you find yourself asking, why is this happening to me? Do you expect things to go wrong? Do you mentally prepare for failure more than success? Start paying attention to the language of your inner voice. Your self-talk is the software of your brain. If the language you use is focused on fear, doubt, or limitation, then that's the mindset you're running. But when you begin to observe your thoughts without judging them, something powerful happens. You create space. And in that space, you can choose a different response. You can ask a better question. And better questions are how you begin to rewire your mind for solutions. Ask better questions, get better answers. The quality of your thinking is shaped by the questions you ask yourself every day. Most people don't realize this, but your brain is like a search engine. It wants to answer whatever question you feed it. If you ask, why does this always happen to me? Your brain will search for reasons you're unlucky or not good enough. But if you ask, what can I do right now to improve this situation? Your brain starts hunting for answers, options, and opportunities. You see the difference? One question keeps you stuck. The other gets you moving. So here's your first tool in rewiring your mindset. Start asking solution-based questions. Here are a few to keep in your mental toolbox. What's the next best step I can take? What's in my control right now? What can I learn from this? Who can help me solve this? What resources am I not seeing? If success was possible here, what would it look like? These questions pull you out of fear and into focus, out of helplessness and into empowerment. And the more you practice asking them, the more automatic they become. Reframing. Change the lens, change the outcome. Here's another tool. Reframing. Reframing is the art of changing how you see a problem. Because the way you see a challenge determines how you respond to it. Two people can experience the same setback, say, losing a job. One person spirals into defeat. This is a disaster. I'm doomed. The other says, maybe this is the push I needed to start something better. Same situation. Different frame. Completely different outcomes. Reframing doesn't mean ignoring difficulty. It means choosing a lens that empowers you instead of paralyzing you. So the next time you face a tough moment, try this. Pause and name the thought. I'm thinking this is a dead end. Flip the lens. What if this is actually a redirection? Find the benefit or the opportunity. What could I gain by facing this head-on? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to change. Train your focus. Where attention goes, energy flows. One of the most important shifts in becoming solution-oriented is learning to control your focus. Focus is a mental spotlight. Whatever you shine it on grows larger in your awareness. If you shine it on fear, fear grows. If you shine it on failure, failure feels bigger. But if you shine it on possibilities, on even the tiniest steps forward, solutions start to show up. Training your focus is like training a muscle. You don't get stronger overnight. You get stronger by reps. Every time you choose to redirect your attention from the problem to a possible solution, you build mental strength. You build focus. You build control. So start catching yourself when your mind drifts into worry. Gently bring it back. What's one small, useful action I can take right now? That's the rep. That's the muscle building. That's how you rewire your brain. Environment. Upgrade your mental inputs. Your mindset is shaped not just by what's inside your head, but by what surrounds it. If you want to think in solutions, be mindful of your environment. The people you talk to. The media you consume. The conversations you engage in. These all become inputs for your mental software. If your environment is full of people who complain, blame, or focus on problems, you'll start to absorb that mindset, even if you don't want to. So ask yourself, who around me encourages solution thinking? What books, podcasts, or content inspire me to act instead of worry? What conversations energize me, and which ones drain me? Protect your mental environment like it's sacred, because it is. The more you surround yourself with growth, action, and solution-oriented energy, the more natural it becomes to think that way yourself. Identity. Become the kind of person who solves problems. Finally, this is about identity. You must begin to see yourself as someone who finds solutions. Not someone who tries to be more positive. Not someone who wants to think better. But someone who is mentally strong. Someone who is creative. Someone who is resourceful. Even in the face of challenge. Start affirming that identity to yourself. I am someone who finds a way. I solve challenges with calm and clarity. I don't freeze. I think, I act, I grow. Speak it. Own it. Walk in it. Because identity drives behavior. And when you believe you're a solution finder, your brain starts proving you right. Let's wrap this up. Rewiring your mindset isn't a one-time decision. It's a practice, a daily discipline. But here's the good news. Every small shift you make adds up. Every time you notice your thoughts and redirect them, you're strengthening the solution-oriented part of your brain. This chapter gave you the mental tools to begin that transformation. Awareness of your current thought patterns, asking empowering questions, reframing challenges, training your focus, upgrading your environment, and stepping into a new identity. You are not powerless. You are capable. You are resourceful. And your mind is a tool. You just have to learn how to use it. In the next chapter, we'll talk about something that takes these principles even deeper, the power of perspective and how to zoom out of your problems to see the bigger picture. Because sometimes, what feels like a wall is just a door. You haven't stepped back far enough to see. Let's keep going. Chapter 3. Zooming out, the power of perspective. Have you ever been so close to a problem that it felt like the whole world was falling apart? In that moment, everything feels urgent, heavy, final. Your heart beats faster, your mind races, and all you can see is what's going wrong. It's like standing 2 inches away from a giant painting, so close that all you see are the brush strokes, the mess, and the chaos. But when you take a few steps back, something powerful happens. You begin to see the full picture. And that's what this chapter is about, the power of perspective. Because sometimes, the problem isn't the problem. The problem is your perspective, how you're looking at it, how you're thinking about it, and how you're feeling about it. So let's learn how to zoom out and see clearly. Why we get stuck in narrow thinking. Your brain is wired for survival, not clarity. When something goes wrong, especially something unexpected or emotionally intense, your mind naturally zooms in. It fixates. It narrows its focus to the perceived threat. That's your brain trying to protect you. But what protects you in danger doesn't always serve you in life. Because when your focus becomes narrow, your options shrink. You stop thinking creatively. You stop thinking long-term. You stop thinking like the version of yourself that has power. Let's take an example. Imagine someone loses their job. The immediate reaction is often panic. How will I pay the bills? What if I can't find another job? What will people think? What if this is the end? The mind goes into crisis mode. It zooms in on fear. But what happens when that same person takes a deep breath, sits down, and zooms out? They might ask, what does this make possible for me? Was I really happy in that job anyway? What skills do I have that I've been underusing? What if this is the beginning of something better? That's the power of perspective. The facts haven't changed, but the frame has. And when the frame changes, the meaning changes. Zooming out creates emotional distance. Perspective creates space. And space gives you clarity. When you're right in the middle of an emotional storm, it's almost impossible to think clearly. But when you learn to zoom out, you create a buffer between your emotions and your decisions. Here's a simple technique you can use, the third-person perspective. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? Ask, if this were happening to someone I care about, what would I tell them? This trick works because it removes the emotion and brings in logic and compassion. Let's say you're overwhelmed because a project at work is failing. You're blaming yourself. You're stressed. You feel stuck. But now imagine your friend calls you and describes that same exact situation. What would you say to them? You'd probably say something like, "Don't panic. Let's figure out what went wrong and see what can be salvaged. It's not the end of the world. You've gotten through worse." That's wisdom. And that wisdom was already inside you. You just needed distance to access it. That's the power of perspective. It helps you become your own best advisor. The long game. Time changes everything. Another powerful way to zoom out is by using time as your lens. Ask yourself, will this matter in 1 year? 5 years? 10 years? Most of the things that stress us out today won't even be a memory in a few years. But in the moment, they feel massive. Let's say you missed a big opportunity. You're disappointed. You feel like you blew your one shot. But zoom out and think, how many times in the past did something I wanted not work out, and later, something even better came along? When you use time to zoom out, you realize that life is full of twists, turns, setbacks, and comebacks. No single moment defines you, unless you let it. Think of the times you thought something was the end, but it turned out to be a beginning. Time gives you perspective, and perspective gives you peace. Shifting from victim to creator. Another benefit of perspective is that it moves you from the role of a victim to the role of a creator. When you're zoomed in on a problem, it's easy to feel like everything is happening to you. You feel powerless. You feel stuck. You feel like life is against you. But when you zoom out, you begin to ask, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? What is life preparing me for? Suddenly, the situation transforms. You're no longer the victim of your story. You're the author of it. You're learning, evolving, adapting, growing. And that mindset is the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. Practice the perspective pause. Here's a practical tool you can start using today. It's called the perspective pause. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by a problem, take 60 seconds to ask yourself 3 simple questions. What's really happening here? Not what you fear. Not what you imagine. Just the facts. What am I not seeing right now? Is there another way to view this? Another angle? Another explanation? What would I say if my best friend were in this situation? That's often the clearest and kindest voice you'll hear. This quick practice helps you step back and reconnect with the bigger picture. And the more you use it, the more natural it becomes. Final thoughts. You always have a choice. Life won't always give you ideal circumstances, but it will give you a choice. A choice in how you see. A choice in how you respond. A choice in what story you tell yourself. You can see problems as walls or as doors waiting to be opened. You can see setbacks as failures or as setups for something greater. You can see discomfort as punishment or as preparation. The choice is yours, because your mindset shapes your reality, and your perspective shapes your mindset. Zooming out doesn't erase the problem. It just makes you bigger than it. You rise above the storm instead of getting swept away by it. And from that higher place, you start to see clearly. You start to think differently. And most importantly, you start to act powerfully. In the next chapter, we'll talk about a critical skill that turns your perspective into progress, taking action even when you're uncertain. Because clarity doesn't always come before movement. Sometimes, it's the result of movement. Let's keep going. Chapter 4. Action over analysis. Move first, think clearer later. Have you ever been stuck in your own head? You know you want to make a change. You know something needs to happen. But instead of taking action, you analyze. You plan. You overthink. You wait for the perfect answer to appear. And in the meantime, nothing changes. Welcome to the trap of analysis paralysis, one of the greatest enemies of progress. You see, when we face a problem, our natural instinct is often to think it through, to figure it out, to plan for every possible outcome before we take the first step. And while planning has its place, here's a powerful truth. Thinking doesn't create clarity. Movement does. You don't need to have it all figured out to take the first step. In fact, Taking the first step is often the only way to figure things out. Let's talk about why action is the most powerful solution-generating force you have, and how to use it, even when you feel stuck. Why overthinking keeps you stuck. Let's be real, overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're being responsible, like you're preparing, like you're protecting yourself from mistakes. But in reality, most overthinking is just disguised fear. It's fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of making the wrong move. So we tell ourselves, I just need more time, when really, we just need more courage. Here's what happens when you stay stuck in your head. You miss opportunities because you're waiting for certainty. You waste mental energy creating scenarios that never happen. You lose confidence because every day you don't act reinforces the belief that you can't act. In short, the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. But once you break the cycle with action, everything begins to shift. Clarity comes from engagement, not perfection. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a starting point. Here's something to remember. You can't steer a parked car. It doesn't matter how great your GPS is if you're not moving. Action puts you in motion. And once you're in motion, you can adjust. You can learn. You can pivot. But none of that happens until you engage. Take someone starting a business, for example. They might spend months researching, watching tutorials, trying to come up with the perfect logo, website, brand, and message. But they haven't talked to a single customer. They haven't sold one product. They're planning for a world they haven't entered yet. Now take someone else who just launches. They start small. They test. They fail fast. They learn faster. Within a few months, they know their market, they know what works, and they've made progress the first person is still only thinking about. Why? Because they understood the golden rule. Start before you're ready. Clarity comes from action. Action builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Have you ever noticed how once you start doing something, even if it's small, it suddenly feels easier to keep going? That's called momentum. And momentum is your best friend when it comes to solving problems. When you're stuck in fear or confusion, even the smallest action can shift your emotional state. It's like lighting a match in a dark room. Suddenly, you're not sitting in fear, you're doing something. You've gone from passive to active, from reactive to proactive. And that shift, it builds confidence. Confidence isn't something you wait for before you act. Confidence is something you build through action. Every time you do the thing you've been avoiding, even imperfectly, you prove something to yourself, I can handle this. And once you prove it to yourself once, you can do it again. And again. Until action becomes your default setting, not hesitation. Don't wait for motivation. Create it. Here's a big lie most people believe, I have to feel motivated to take action. That's backwards. Motivation is not what leads to action. Action leads to motivation. Think about the last time you forced yourself to do something you didn't feel like doing. Going to the gym, making that call, writing that email. You probably didn't feel motivated at first. But once you got started, your energy shifted. You started to feel it. That's how it works. Action fuels emotion, not the other way around. So if you're sitting around waiting for inspiration to strike before you take the next step, stop. Start moving and let inspiration catch up. Start small, but start now. One of the biggest reasons people avoid action is because they think it has to be big. They believe the first step has to be perfect, dramatic, or life-changing. But the truth is, small steps are what lead to big breakthroughs. If a problem feels overwhelming, don't ask, how do I fix this entire thing? Ask, what's one small step I can take today that moves me in the right direction? One call, one email, one paragraph, one workout, one decision. Progress is built in inches, not miles. You don't climb a mountain by leaping to the top. You climb by taking one steady, focused step at a time. So take the step that's in front of you, even if it's small. Especially if it's small, because small steps done consistently lead to massive transformation. Stop trying to be right, focus on learning. Here's another reason people hesitate to act. They're afraid of making the wrong move. But here's the truth. Wrong action teaches you more than no action ever will. Every mistake gives you feedback. Every misstep sharpens your awareness. Every failed attempt shows you what not to do next time. That's valuable data. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to grow. And growth happens through experience. So shift your focus. Stop asking, "What's the right answer?" and start asking, "What can I learn from doing this?" That mindset frees you. It gives you permission to act boldly. And that boldness builds your momentum. Action is the shortcut to breakthroughs. If you take nothing else from this chapter, remember this. Solutions are revealed through movement. You don't need to overthink your way out of a problem. You need to move your way through it. If you want a breakthrough, don't wait for it to come to you. Create the conditions for it to show up by getting into motion. Pick up the phone. Have the conversation. Write the plan. Hit publish. Send the application. Make the request. Take the walk. Start the project. Do something. Even if it's imperfect. Especially if it's imperfect. Because imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. Let's wrap this up. You don't have to have the full map to take the first step. And you don't have to feel fearless to begin. The secret to unlocking solutions is simple. Act your way forward. Because once you're in motion, everything changes. Your confidence grows. Your thinking sharpens. Your energy shifts. Your problems start to shrink. And your perspective expands. Thinking is good. Planning is helpful. But don't let either become an excuse for staying stuck. You're not here to be passive. You're here to move, to grow, to lead, to act. And in the next chapter, we're going to explore something just as powerful. How to stay calm and solution-focused in the middle of chaos. Because life won't always wait for you to feel ready. But if you train yourself to act with clarity, even in pressure, you become unstoppable. Let's keep building. Chapter 5. Calm in Chaos. Mastering Mental Clarity Under Pressure. Picture this. You're in the middle of a crisis. Everything feels like it's crashing down. You're overwhelmed, stressed, unsure what to do. The pressure is high, the stakes are real, and your mind? It's racing, spinning, overloaded. We've all been there. In that moment, thinking clearly feels impossible. But here's the truth. Chaos doesn't destroy you. Panicking in chaos does. The most successful people, the ones who thrive under pressure, aren't superhuman. They've simply learned one powerful skill. Staying calm in the storm. And that's what this chapter is all about. How to stay mentally clear, emotionally steady, and solution-focused, even when life gets loud. Why pressure breaks most people. Let's understand why chaos feels so overwhelming. When stress hits, your brain shifts into survival mode. Your body floods with adrenaline and cortisol, fight-or-flight chemicals. Your focus narrows. Your breath shortens. Your mind starts screaming. What if it goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I can't handle this? Your brain isn't looking for solutions. It's looking for threats. And that's the problem. You're not thinking creatively. You're not evaluating options. You're just trying to escape discomfort. But escaping discomfort rarely solves the problem. It only delays it. The real strength is this. Staying still when everything around you is shouting, "Panic." Calm is a skill, and it's learnable. Let's kill a myth right now. Staying calm under pressure is not about personality. It's not about being naturally laid back or emotionless. It's about training. Just like building muscle, emotional composure is something you can develop with consistent practice. And it starts with this idea. You can feel pressure and still stay in control. You don't need to eliminate stress to think clearly. You just need to not be owned by it. You can breathe through the fear. You can pause in the noise. You can choose your response, even when emotions are screaming. Let's break down how. Tool number 1. Breathe before you think. Your breath is your reset button. When you feel the rush of chaos, your first move should be simple. Slow down your breathing. Here's why it works. When your breath is shallow and fast, your nervous system stays in fight or flight. But when you slow your breath, you signal to your brain, I'm safe. I'm in control. And that changes everything. Here's a quick technique. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Repeat this 3 to 4 times, and notice the shift. This isn't just a relaxation technique, it's a performance strategy. Military leaders, athletes, and high-level CEOs use this to calm their systems and get their thinking brain back online. You should too. Tool 2. Control the controllables. In chaos, your power comes from focusing on what's within your control. Most people waste energy panicking over things they can't influence. The economy. Other people's actions. Unforeseen circumstances. But here's a powerful truth. The more you focus on what you can't control, the weaker you feel. The more you focus on what you can control, the stronger you become. So when chaos hits, ask yourself, what's in my control right now? What can I influence, even slightly? What's the next right move I can make? That shift in focus moves you out of fear and into action. Tool 3. Ask clarity questions. Pressure makes your mind loud and reactive. So you need questions that bring you back to clarity. Here are 3 powerful ones. What's actually happening right now? Strip away emotion. Get to the facts. What would this look like if it were easy? This simple question often reveals simpler paths you couldn't see in panic. If my future self looked back at this moment, what would they want me to do? This zooms you out of emotion and helps you lead with wisdom. Your mind under pressure wants to react, but the solution-focused mind responds. That difference saves careers, relationships, health, and peace of mind. Tool 4. Anchor yourself. When the world feels unstable, you need internal anchors, things that ground you. This could be a phrase you repeat like, I've got this. A mental image of a time you handled chaos well. A belief like, I always find a way through. A value like courage, calm, or leadership. Anchors remind you of who you are regardless of the situation. In the middle of pressure, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your training and self-trust. So build that anchor before the storm hits. Tool 5. Slow down to speed up. One of the most common mistakes people make under pressure is rushing. But rushing creates mistakes. Rushing creates reactivity. Rushing leads to poor decisions. When everything feels urgent, the best thing you can do is slow down. Take a breath. Step back. Buy time if you need it. Ask for space. Say, let me think about this and get back to you. Slowing down allows your logical mind to catch up to your emotional state. And once your logic is back in control, solutions start to appear. Pressure reveals you, but it doesn't define you. Here's something no one tells you. How you handle chaos reveals your current mindset. But it doesn't define your future one. You might have panicked in the past. You might have frozen. You might have made mistakes. That doesn't mean you're not capable of leading with clarity. It just means you haven't trained for it yet. Every moment of pressure is a training ground. And every time you choose calm over chaos, even for a second, you grow stronger. You can become the person who others turn to in storms. The one who brings peace into panic. The one who doesn't just survive chaos, but leads through it. But that starts with you choosing to show up differently, on purpose. Let's wrap this up. Chaos is part of life. Pressure is part of growth. Uncertainty is part of progress. But panic? That's optional. You don't have to be at the mercy of external stress. You can develop inner steadiness. You can build calm like a muscle. You can become the kind of person who thinks clearly under pressure and solves problems when others freeze. To review, here are your Calm in Chaos tools. Use your breath as a reset. Focus on what you can control. Ask clarity-creating questions. Anchor yourself in values and self-trust. Slow down before you speed up. These tools don't just help you survive tough situations. They help you master them. And in the next chapter, we'll take this even further. We'll talk about how to deal with people, because often the biggest problems we face are not technical. They're relational. We'll learn how to stay solution-focused when dealing with difficult people, draining conversations, and emotional triggers. Let's keep going. Chapter 6. People Problems. How to stay solution-focused in difficult relationships. You've probably heard it before. Everything would be great if it weren't for the people. And let's be honest, sometimes that feels true. You can handle your own thoughts. You can manage your tasks. You can navigate your goals. But then someone else shows up. With their attitude, their ego, their drama, their demands. Suddenly, your focus is gone. Your energy is drained. And solutions feel a million miles away. People problems are the most common, and often the most challenging problems we face. Why? Because people aren't formulas. They're emotional, complex, unpredictable. They bring their own stories, baggage, insecurities, and expectations. But here's the truth. How you handle people, especially difficult ones, often determines how far you'll go in life. Because success is never a solo act. Your peace, your progress, your power, all depend on your ability to manage relationships with clarity, confidence, and solution-focused energy. And that's what we're going to build in this chapter. Understanding the real problem in people problems. When someone frustrates you, annoys you, disrespects you, or misunderstands you, your brain does something very predictable. It labels them as the problem. And then, it starts rehearsing everything that's wrong with them. They're so controlling. They never listen. They always twist my words. They're just impossible to deal with. Sound familiar? Now, let's pause. Are they really the problem? Or is the way you're relating to the situation the bigger issue? This shift is subtle, but powerful. Because the moment you stop blaming and start leading, everything changes. Solution-focused people don't waste energy on personality wars. They focus on outcome. They ask, what's the result I want, and how can I get there despite the friction? Let's explore how. Step 1. Don't react. Respond. This is the foundation. When someone pushes your buttons, the natural response is to snap back, shut down, or become passive-aggressive. But reaction leads to escalation, not resolution. So, here's your new mantra. Pause before you pounce. Give yourself a few seconds of silence between stimulus and response. Take a breath. Feel the trigger. And then choose how to respond. Calmly, clearly, and with purpose. Ask yourself, what's my real goal here? Is this worth reacting emotionally to? How can I respond in a way that keeps the conversation productive? When you respond instead of react, you stay in control. And control creates clarity. Step 2. Focus on the issue, not the ego. People often fight around the issue, not through it. They argue about tone, words, side comments, or past offenses, and completely miss the actual problem. If you want to stay solution-focused, stay on the issue. That means, don't make it personal. Don't dig up old dirt. Don't insult, shame, or corner them. Instead, use clear, non-blaming language. Like, here's what I'm noticing. This is how it's affecting our progress. Let's figure out how to move forward. When you take the ego out of the equation, people drop their defenses, and solutions come into view. Step 3. See the hurt behind the heat. Here's a secret most people don't know. Difficult behavior is often a mask for unspoken pain. The anger? It's fear. The criticism? It's insecurity. The control? It's a deep need for safety. When someone is hard to deal with, ask yourself, what are they really afraid of? What need are they trying to protect? How can I respond with compassion, not just frustration? This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or becoming a doormat, but it does mean recognizing the human behind the hostility. And when you connect at that level, things start to shift. Step 4. Ask questions that create movement. Statements often create resistance. Questions, on the other hand, create possibility. So instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try, "What would help us understand each other better right now?" Instead of saying, "You're always blaming me," try, "What outcome do you want from this conversation?" These questions do two things. They shift focus from blame to solution. They invite the other person into collaboration, not combat. Ask open, curious questions, and you'll get better answers and better behavior. Step 5. Don't try to win. Try to move forward. Many people treat difficult conversations like a boxing match. They want to win the argument, prove the other person wrong, get the last word. But winning the argument often means losing the relationship or losing your peace. So shift your goal. Stop trying to win. Start trying to move forward. What's the outcome we both want? How can we get there, even if we disagree? What's one next step we can agree on? This is what true emotional intelligence looks like. It's not about being right. It's about being effective. Step 6. Set boundaries with strength and grace. Not all people problems can be fixed through conversation. Sometimes, the healthiest solution is distance, limits, or disconnection. And that's okay. Being solution-focused doesn't mean tolerating toxic behavior. It means knowing where your responsibility ends. You can love someone and still draw a boundary. You can be respectful and still say no. You can care and still walk away if your peace is constantly under attack. Boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges that preserve respect, protect energy, and promote clarity. If someone consistently drains, disrespects, or devalues you, it's okay to take a step back. Sometimes the most solution-focused move is removing yourself from the equation. Real power is relational mastery. In every room, every meeting, every relationship, there's one person who holds the power. It's not the loudest voice. It's not the one with the title. It's not the one who wins the fight. It's the person who stays calm, clear, and solution-focused, even when others lose control. That can be you. You can be the one who diffuses tension, who brings logic to emotion, who navigates conflict with wisdom, not ego. And when you do, you become magnetic, trusted, respected. People seek you out, not because you avoid problems, but because you solve them with grace. Let's recap. Difficult people are inevitable. But drama is optional. You now have tools to stay solution-focused even in messy, emotional situations. Respond, don't react. Focus on the issue, not the ego. Look for the fear behind the frustration. Ask collaborative questions. Aim for movement, not victory. Set boundaries where needed. Use them. Practice them. Because the way you handle people will often be the make or break factor in your progress. And in the next chapter, we're going to take this even deeper, not just into your relationships with others, but your relationship with yourself. Because internal problems, like doubt, fear, procrastination, can be even more paralyzing than external ones. Chapter 7. From Self-Doubt to Self-Trust, Solving the Inner Conflict. Let's talk about the toughest person you'll ever have to lead. Yourself. You can learn all the strategies for problem solving. You can stay calm under pressure. You can even handle other people with grace. But if you don't trust yourself, none of it sticks. Self-doubt is sneaky. It whispers quietly or shouts loudly. It sounds like, "What if I fail? Who am I to do this? I don't know if I have what it takes. I've never done this before. What will they think of me?" And just like that, you freeze. You hesitate. You delay. You retreat. Here's the truth most people never say out loud. The biggest problems in life are not out there. They're in here, in your own mind. The doubts, the fears, the stories you tell yourself. So in this chapter, we're going to do something powerful. We're going to solve the problem of you versus you. We'll break through self-doubt and replace it with something solid. Unshakable, reliable self-trust. Let's begin. Self-doubt isn't the enemy. It's a signal. First, understand this. Self-doubt isn't always a sign that you're broken. It's often a sign that you're growing. That fear you feel before doing something new? That hesitation before speaking up? That worry about failing? It means you care. It means you're stretching. It means you're about to do something meaningful. So instead of treating doubt as a stop sign, treat it as a checkpoint. Pause. Breathe. What exactly am I afraid of? And is that fear real or just familiar? You'll often find that your doubt isn't based on truth, it's based on habit. Old beliefs, old failures, old patterns. But you're not who you were. And self-trust begins the moment you stop listening to fear like it's a fact. The inner critic versus the inner coach. Inside your head, there are two voices. One is your inner critic, and it's loud. It reminds you of every mistake. It exaggerates risk. It downplays your ability. It says things like, "You're not ready. You're too late. Someone else could do it better." But there's another voice too, your inner coach. This voice is calm. It's grounded. It's not hyped-up positivity. It's earned perspective. It says, "You've handled hard things before. You're learning. That's enough. One step at a time. Let's go." Your job? Turn down the volume on the critic and tune into the coach. This is the foundation of self-trust. Choosing to believe in your ability to figure things out, even if you're not perfect. Build evidence, not just confidence. Here's where most people go wrong. They wait for confidence to appear before taking action. But confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Evidence comes next. Confidence follows. Think about it. You didn't become confident at walking by thinking about it. You fell. You got back up. And over time, your brain said, "We've done this before. We're okay." That's what builds trust. So stop trying to feel ready. Start building proof that you can handle it, even if it's messy. Every small action is a vote for the person you're becoming. Progress over perfection. Self-doubt often shows up as perfectionism. You feel like if something isn't flawless, it's a failure. So you procrastinate. You overthink. You tweak endlessly. But here's the truth. Perfection is the enemy of progress, and progress is the fuel of self-trust. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward. Start before you're ready. Learn as you go. And focus on iteration, not impressing anyone. The people you admire most didn't start as polished experts. They started clumsy, unsure, awkward. But they started. And that's what separated them from the rest. Rewrite the story you tell yourself. Self-doubt is often rooted in an old identity. Maybe you were told, "You're not smart enough. You're the quiet one. You're not leadership material. You always mess things up." Those words sink in and become a story. And stories shape how you see yourself. But guess what? You can rewrite the script. Try this exercise. Write down the limiting belief. Example, I always choke under pressure. Ask, where did this belief come from? Is it still true? Often, it's based on one moment, not your whole identity. Replace it with a new, empowering belief. Example, I stay calm and rise under pressure. Repeat it. Live it. Breathe it. Over time, this new belief becomes your new baseline. Trust is built through promises kept. Here's something powerful. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-trust grows. Wake up when you said you would? That's self-trust. Follow through on a workout? That's self-trust. Say no when it's uncomfortable but right? That's self-trust. It's not about big wins. It's about small, consistent decisions that say, I can count on me. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to become reliable to yourself. Speak to yourself like someone you love. If your best friend was struggling, you wouldn't say, "You're a failure. You'll never figure this out." You'd say, "Hey, I believe in you. You've got this. Let's figure it out together." So why talk to yourself any differently? The fastest way to build self-trust is to speak with kindness and courage to the person in the mirror. Talk to yourself like someone you're coaching, someone who's learning, someone who's worth fighting for. Because you are. Let's recap. Self-doubt is normal. But it doesn't have to be your default. You now have tools to turn inner conflict into inner confidence. Recognize doubt as a growth signal. Tune into your inner coach, not the critic. Build confidence through action, not waiting. Replace perfection with progress. Rewrite the stories you tell yourself. Keep promises to yourself, no matter how small. Speak with the same encouragement you'd give someone you love. This is the heart of becoming solution-focused. When the voice inside you becomes stronger than the noise outside you. Because once you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. And in the next chapter, we're taking this inner mastery into your habits, your daily systems for staying solution-focused no matter what. Chapter 8. The Daily Reset, Habits that Keep You Focused Forward. You've probably heard this phrase before. We are what we repeatedly do. But let's take it deeper. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And that's why this chapter is important, because you can know all the right things, read all the books, hear all the motivation. But if your habits aren't aligned with a solution-focused mindset, your momentum will always break down. This isn't about morning routines filled with pressure. This isn't about productivity hacks for the sake of doing more. This is about mental reset rituals, the kind of daily anchors that help you stay in control of your focus, energy, and intention. Because life will throw distractions at you. Your thoughts will drift toward problems. Stress, doubt, and drama will always try to pull you back. So you need a system. A daily reset that keeps you focused forward, no matter what. Let's build it together. 1. Begin with intention, not reaction. Most people start their day reacting. They wake up, grab their phone, scroll through messages, news, and social media. Before they even get out of bed, their brain is already consumed by other people's problems, opinions, and chaos. That's not a reset. That's a hijack. Solution-focused people begin differently. They begin deliberately. Whether it's 2 minutes or 20, they start with a question like, "What's the one thing I want to focus on today? What kind of energy do I want to bring into the world? What's the solution I can move toward, no matter what comes up?" This might be through journaling. It might be through meditation. Or just sitting with your thoughts for a few quiet moments. The goal isn't perfection. It's presence. Starting your day with intention is like setting your internal GPS. You decide the direction. And when distractions come, you can recenter and return to it. 2. Anchor your focus with a morning check-in. Here's a simple habit that takes less than 5 minutes. Each morning, ask yourself 3 questions. What am I grateful for today? Gratitude isn't fluffy. It shifts your attention from lack to abundance, from problems to perspective. What challenge might I face today? This isn't about worry. It's about preparation. By expecting a challenge, you take its power away. How can I respond with purpose instead of reacting emotionally? This primes your brain to focus on solutions, even in pressure moments. You don't need to write a novel. Just jot down a sentence or 2. This check-in reconnects you with clarity and trains your mind to see obstacles as opportunities. 3. Movement unlocks mental flow. You cannot solve mental problems by thinking harder alone. Sometimes your body needs to move for your mind to breathe. That's why so many breakthroughs happen during walks, workouts, or stretches. Physical movement creates psychological momentum. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, get your blood flowing. Put on music. Stretch. Go for a brisk walk. No agenda, just movement. You'll find that tension melts, creativity returns, and problems begin to shrink. Solutions don't always show up at the desk. Sometimes they meet you while you're in motion. 4. Build a power hour for deep work. If you want to stay focused forward, you need a block of time, undistracted, uninterrupted, and non-negotiable. This is your power hour. It's not about time, it's about focus. Even 25 minutes counts. Use this time to do your most important work, not the easiest task, not checking email, not busy work. And here's the mindset. Shut off distractions. Turn your phone face down or on airplane mode. Pick one task. Dive in completely. Even a single hour of deep, focused work can create more progress than an entire day of scattered energy. This habit rewires your brain to value depth over distraction, quality over quantity. 5. Master the midday reset. Let's be honest, by mid-afternoon, most people are drained. They've faced a few setbacks, scrolled too much, or gotten stuck in other people's problems. This is your chance to reset. Schedule a midday pause. Even just 5 to 10 minutes. Ask yourself, what's working so far today? What needs to shift? Where is my focus right now, and where do I want it to be? Drink water. Breathe deeply. Stretch. Step outside. This isn't a break from work, it's an investment in your clarity. Because when you pause with purpose, you return with power. 6. Protect your inputs. You can't stay solution-focused if your mind is constantly absorbing negativity. That means you need to guard your inputs, what you consume, who you listen to, and what you expose yourself to every day. Ask yourself, is this content feeding my mind or cluttering it? Is this person lifting me up or draining me? Is this habit fueling clarity or fueling confusion? This doesn't mean isolating yourself. It means being intentional. Listen to podcasts that challenge your thinking. Follow people who inspire action. Limit the scroll and protect your peace. Remember, your mind becomes what it's fed. Feed it solutions, not noise. 7. End the day with a forward focus review. How you end the day matters as much as how you start it. Don't crash into bed with your brain spinning. Don't carry today's stress into tomorrow. Instead, finish with a 5-minute evening review. What did I solve today? What did I learn from the problems I faced? What small win can I celebrate, no matter how minor? And then set one simple intention for tomorrow. Just one. This tells your brain, we're still moving. We're still growing. We're still in charge. Sleep becomes easier. Focus becomes sharper. And you wake up ready, again. Let's recap. Habits aren't just routines. They're your reset system, the foundation that keeps you focused forward, no matter what life throws at you. To lock in a daily reset, begin with intention, not reaction. Do a morning check-in with 3 guiding questions. Move your body to unlock mental flow. Schedule a power hour for focused progress. Take a midday reset to realign your focus. Guard your inputs and protect your mental diet. Finish your day with a forward focus review. These are not massive changes, but over time, they create massive shifts. Because once your habits align with solutions, your mindset becomes unstoppable. And in the next chapter, we'll take these personal systems and scale them into your environment. Chapter 9. Creating a solution-focused environment. Your external world shapes your inner world. Have you ever walked into a messy room and instantly felt overwhelmed? Or maybe you've tried to focus in a noisy, chaotic space, and no matter how strong your willpower was, you just couldn't get in the zone. That's not coincidence. That's environment. And it matters more than most people realize. In fact, your external environment isn't just a background to your life. It's one of the most powerful forces shaping your mood, your focus, and your problem-solving capacity. So if you're serious about becoming someone who lives in solution mode, not problem mode, it's not enough to just think differently. You have to design differently. Because no matter how strong your mindset is, it will always be influenced by the space, systems, and people you surround yourself with. In this chapter, we're going to explore how to create an environment that reinforces clarity, focus, calm, and forward momentum. Let's begin. 1. Clutter is the enemy of clarity. Let's start with the physical. When your space is cluttered, papers everywhere, messy shelves, dishes piling up, your mind starts to reflect that same energy. You might not realize it, but every item in your line of sight is a micro-decision your brain processes. I need to file that. I should clean this. I forgot about that bill. Why haven't I read that book yet? One glance around the room can trigger dozens of low-level stressors. And the worst part? It's silent stress. You don't even notice it until you're mentally exhausted by noon. If you want a solution-focused mind, you need a solution-focused space. Keep your work area clean and minimal. Designate one area for creative work, another for rest. Make it easy to focus by removing distractions before they become decisions. Start small. A drawer. A corner of your desk. Then expand. Remember, clear space equals clear mind. 2. Visual cues for solution thinking. Now let's flip the script. While clutter distracts you, intentional visual cues can direct you. Place reminders in your environment that anchor you to action, not anxiety. This might be a sticky note on your mirror. How can I move forward today? A whiteboard with your top 3 weekly goals. A framed quote that inspires resilience. A journal on your nightstand to unload your thoughts before sleep. These aren't decorations, they're tools. Tools to trigger a better state of mind. Because sometimes, when your brain gets stuck in problems, all it needs is a visual nudge to remember who you are and where you're headed. Create a space that talks back to you. That reminds you, we don't sit in the storm. We search for the sun. 3. Sound, light, and flow. Your senses are always listening, even when you're not. That's why small environmental details have such a massive psychological impact. Let's talk about 3 of them. Sound. What you hear affects how you think. If you work in constant noise, TV, construction, notifications, you'll find it harder to enter deep thought. Create intentional sound zones. Use instrumental music to stay focused. White noise or nature sounds to calm your nervous system. Silence, when possible, to hear your own thoughts clearly. Light. Natural light boosts mood, alertness, and creativity. If you can, work near a window. If not, use warm, full-spectrum lighting to simulate daylight. A dim, cave-like room might be cozy, but it also might be draining your energy without you realizing it. Flow. Your physical layout should support your daily rhythm. Do you have to walk across the room to grab what you use 10 times a day? Is your desk constantly invaded by non-work items? Streamline your setup so that doing the right thing becomes easier than doing the wrong thing. That's real productivity. 4. Who you allow in your environment. Now let's talk about people. If your physical environment influences your clarity, your social environment influences your identity. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Think about that. Not just in terms of income or success, but in how they think. Are they problem-focused or solution-focused? Do they complain or create? Do they get stuck or get moving? You cannot grow forward if you're surrounded by people who pull you backward. This doesn't mean you have to cut everyone off. But it does mean being selective about who gets your time, energy, and attention. Spend more time with those who challenge you to rise. Find mentors, join communities, listen to voices that speak vision into your life. Upgrade your environment by upgrading your influences. 5. Make your environment friction-free for good habits. Want to meditate daily? Keep your mat or cushion visible. Want to read more? Put your book where you'll see it, not hidden in a drawer. Want to drink more water? Keep a bottle on your desk. Designing your space for solutions means removing the friction between you and the habits you want to build. And here's the flip side. Make it harder to fall into negative patterns. Want to cut screen time? Keep your phone out of reach during focus hours. Want to stop late-night scrolling? Leave your charger in another room. Want to snack less? Don't keep junk food visible. In short, make the right thing easy and the wrong thing inconvenient. That's how you create long-term alignment between your goals and your environment. 6. Digital spaces count too. Your phone, your laptop, your inbox. These are also environments, and often the most toxic ones. If your phone's home screen is full of distractions, your brain will constantly be hijacked. If your desktop is a sea of files, your mind will reflect that clutter. If your social media feeds are full of drama, you'll start internalizing it. It's time to declutter digitally. Clean your home screen. Unsubscribe from junk emails. Turn off non-essential notifications. Curate your social feed with intention. And one more thing. Create focus-friendly zones on your devices. Use apps that block distractions during work sessions. Keep folders organized so you're not wasting energy searching for files. When your digital world is clean, your real-world thinking becomes sharper too. Let's wrap it up. You don't need perfect willpower. You just need a powerful environment. A solution-focused life begins with a solution-focused space. To recap, Clear your physical clutter to clear your mind. Use visual cues to stay anchored to forward momentum. Optimize sound, light, and flow for energy and clarity. Surround yourself with people who reflect your future, not your past. Design your space to make good habits automatic. Clean up your digital world. Your brain will thank you. Remember, the best mindset can still be crushed by a toxic environment. But the right environment will lift you up, even on your worst days. Build it with intention. Protect it with discipline. And soon, your surroundings will start to mirror your future. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to handle life when the unexpected hits, how to stay focused on solutions even when the plan breaks down. Chapter 10. When Plans Fail, Adapting Without Losing Focus. Let's be honest. No matter how smart you are, how clear your goals are, or how strong your mindset is, plans will fail. You'll face detours, delays, disappointments. People will cancel. Markets will shift. That perfect schedule? It'll collapse. The to-do list? It'll get hijacked by real life. But here's the truth most people never tell you. You don't need perfect plans. You need powerful adaptability. That's what separates people who stay stuck from those who keep moving. The ability to adjust without falling apart. In this chapter, we're diving deep into what it means to stay solution-focused when life doesn't go according to plan. Because how you respond when things break down, that's what defines your growth. 1. Stop worshiping the plan. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Your plan is not your purpose. Too many people confuse the strategy with the mission. They fall in love with their to-do list, their timeline, their 5-year vision board. And when that structure cracks, they panic. They spiral. They feel like a failure. But listen closely. Plans are tools, not temples. When a plan breaks, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means it's time to pivot. You're allowed to change routes and still stay on course. What matters isn't sticking to how you thought it would happen. What matters is why you're doing it in the first place. Let go of rigid thinking. Hold the vision, not the vehicle. 2. Normalize setbacks. They're part of the process. We love the highlight reel. We love the smooth success story. But in real life, progress is messy. Setbacks aren't signs that you're doing something wrong. They're signs that you're doing something real. Every time something falls apart, a job opportunity, a relationship, a project, it's not just a roadblock. It's a test, a teacher, a mirror. And if you zoom out, you'll often find that the detour was the actual direction. Normalize it. Missed deadlines? Learn and reschedule. Lost money? Learn and rebuild. Got rejected? Learn and reposition. Setbacks are not the opposite of progress. They're part of it. They shape your resilience, sharpen your focus, and strengthen your story. 3. Pause. Breathe. Assess. Okay, so the plan just fell apart. Now what? Step 1. Don't react. Reflect. Most people jump straight into panic mode. But solution-focused people take a pause. Even 5 minutes of calm reflection can save you 5 days of emotional chaos. Ask yourself, what exactly happened? What's within my control right now? What resources do I still have? What's the most useful next step? It's not about fixing everything instantly. It's about regaining clarity, one breath at a time. And often, when you pause long enough, you'll realize that the opportunity is still there. It just looks different now. 4. Shift from why me to what now? Here's the mental shift that saves lives. When things go wrong, don't ask, why is this happening to me? What can I do with this? What's the next best move? Because every time you sit in the why me mindset, you give your power away. But the moment you flip to "what now," you take it back. You move from victim mode to visionary mode. From problem-sitting to problem-solving. Yes, you're allowed to feel frustrated. Yes, disappointment is real. But don't live there. Feel it. Then fix your focus forward. 5. Stay committed to the outcome, not the path. Think of any big achievement: launching a business, writing a book, healing from pain. The journey is never a straight line. It's full of wrong turns, second guesses, and start-overs. But here's what keeps people going. They stay married to the outcome, not the method. Let's say your product launch failed. Does that mean your mission to serve people is over? Of course not. You find a new model. Let's say your morning routine stopped working. Does that mean you're undisciplined? No. You adapt it to your current life stage. This is flexibility with focus. The goal remains. The path evolves. You're allowed to switch gears, just don't switch goals. 6. Build an emergency protocol mindset. The best time to prepare for chaos is before it hits. Create a system for handling setbacks. Think like a pilot. They don't just hope for smooth skies, they train for turbulence. You should too. Create a mental checklist. Who can I call for perspective or support? What habits keep me grounded in chaos? What's one fallback plan if this fails? What reminder pulls me back to purpose? You can't plan every breakdown, but you can plan your response style. Be the kind of person who stays steady when the world gets shaky. 7. Progress is still progress, even if it looks different. Some days, winning looks like checking off 10 goals. Other days, it's just not giving up when you felt like it. Don't underestimate the power of small, stubborn steps forward. You didn't fail just because your plan changed. You succeeded because you kept moving despite it. That's real growth. That's real strength. That's what solution-focused living is all about. It's not about never getting knocked down. It's about getting back up, smarter, faster, and clearer than before. Let's wrap this up. So what do you do when plans fall apart? You pause. You pivot. You press forward, with clarity and courage. To recap, don't worship the plan. Honor the purpose. Expect setbacks. They're not shameful, they're useful. Shift from panic to pause. From why me to what now. Stay committed to your vision, even if the vehicle changes. Prepare mentally for disruption, before it arrives. Redefine progress. It's not always visible, but it's always valuable. And above all else, remember this. You are not your failed plans. You are the person strong enough to create new ones. The solution is still out there. And so are you. In the next chapter, we'll explore one of the most powerful tools for staying focused: reflection. How to look back without judgment and use the past to shape a better, smarter future. Chapter 11. The power of looking back. Reflect, learn, move forward. Most of us are told, don't look back. Just move on. Forget the past. Keep going forward. But here's the truth no one teaches you in school. Looking back is not the enemy. Living in the past is. When done right, reflection is a powerful tool. It sharpens your clarity. It speeds up your growth. It teaches you lessons you would otherwise repeat. In this chapter, we'll learn how to reflect in a solution-focused way. Not to dwell, not to regret, but to understand, grow, and evolve. Because if you don't learn from the past, you're destined to relive it. Let's get into it. 1. Reflection is not regret, it's review. First, we have to break the myth. Reflecting on your past is not the same as regretting it. Regret keeps you stuck. Reflection sets you free. Think of reflection like a movie review. You're watching what happened, not to punish yourself, but to pull out key scenes and understand the story. What went right? What didn't? Where did you grow? What patterns do you see? When you review your past with curiosity, not shame, you gain insight. You turn memory into mastery. You stop being afraid of what happened and start using it to shape what happens next. 2. Ask better questions. The quality of your reflection depends on the questions you ask. Bad questions keep you small. Why do I always mess up? Why am I like this? What's wrong with me? Those are dead-end questions. They trap you in blame. But solution-focused questions? They open doors. Try these instead. What did I learn from that experience? How would I handle that differently now? What patterns am I starting to notice? What strength did that challenge help me uncover? Better questions lead to better self-awareness. And awareness is the first step to lasting change. 3. Track patterns, not just problems. When you look back at the last year, or even the last month, don't just look at what went wrong. Look at what repeated. Because behind every recurring frustration is a pattern, and behind every pattern is a hidden lesson. For example, if you constantly feel overwhelmed, maybe you're saying yes too often. If your goals keep stalling, maybe your habits don't match your ambitions. If certain people keep draining your energy, maybe it's time for stronger boundaries. Patterns are powerful clues. And once you spot them, you can stop reacting and start redesigning your future. 4. Forgive the old you. Here's a hard truth. You can't grow if you're busy blaming who you used to be. We've all made choices we'd change today. We've stayed in places too long, trusted the wrong people, delayed what mattered. But beating yourself up doesn't heal anything. Forgiveness is not approval. It's release. When you forgive the old you, you free the new you. So say it out loud if you need to. I did the best I could with what I knew. And now I know better. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. 5. Turn lessons into leverage. Reflection isn't just about learning. It's about applying what you learned. So when you identify a past mistake or misstep, ask, what will I do differently next time? That's the key. Let your past fuel your plans. Let the mistakes build muscle. For example, if a relationship ended painfully, what red flags will you look for next time? If a business idea failed, what will you test better moving forward? If you hit burnout, how will you set boundaries earlier? Your lessons are leverage. Use them. 6. Celebrate the wins you forgot. We're wired to remember pain more than progress. But if all you do is reflect on what went wrong, you'll miss all the ways you've grown. So take time to reflect on. What did you overcome that you once thought you couldn't? What fears did you face and push through? What habits did you stick with? Who did you become along the way? Write them down. Speak them aloud. Let those victories remind you, you're not the same person you were last year or even last week. You're growing, even if it's hard to see in the moment. 7. Reflect regularly, not just in crisis. Don't wait until something breaks to pause and look back. Reflection should be a regular rhythm, not a rescue mission. Just 10 minutes a week can transform your clarity. Try this. Every Sunday, ask yourself, what worked this week? What didn't? What's one thing I'll do better next week? Or after a big event, win or lose, pause and review. What went well? What would I tweak next time? What did I learn about myself? Small moments of reflection prevent big moments of regret. Make it a habit, not a reaction. 8. Let the past refine you, not define you. This is the heart of it. Your past may explain you, but it doesn't own you. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are not the person you were at your worst moment. You are who you choose to become, starting right now. Let the past refine your values, your direction, your wisdom, but don't let it define your worth. You are evolving, learning, improving. That's what this whole journey is about. Let's wrap this up. So how do you look back without getting stuck? You reflect. You learn. You move forward. Here's your quick recap. Reflection is a tool for growth, not regret. Ask solution-focused questions. Look for patterns, not just problems. Forgive your past self to free your future self. Use lessons as leverage. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Make reflection a weekly rhythm. Let your past refine you, not define you. This is how you stay solution-focused, even when looking in the rearview mirror. Because the past is your teacher, not your prison. In the next chapter, we'll look at something critical: momentum. How to build it, keep it, and use it as your secret weapon for progress. So here we are, at the end of this audiobook journey. And if you've made it this far, let me remind you, you are already transforming. Because the moment you decide to focus on solutions, not just spin in problems, not just sit in stress, not just talk about what's wrong, that's the moment you start reclaiming your power. You've learned how to shift your mindset, redirect your energy, calm your thoughts under pressure, handle difficult relationships with wisdom, and turn your past into fuel. You've built the tools. Now it's time to live them. The solution-focused life isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about training yourself to respond with clarity, courage, and creativity, even when things aren't. It's about building habits that move you forward, relationships that lift you higher, and a mind that's wired not for worry, but for action. Problems will still come, but you're no longer stuck in reaction. Now you're a builder, a leader, a creator of answers. So keep showing up. Keep asking better questions. Keep choosing the next small step over getting lost in doubt. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just don't stop moving forward. The road ahead is yours. And the solutions? They're already inside you. Final message to listeners. Thank you for listening to Focus on Solutions, not Problems. If this audiobook helped shift your mindset, even just a little, please don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button right now, so you never miss more powerful content just like this. Give this video a like if you found value in it. It tells the algorithm this message matters. And drop a comment below. What was your biggest takeaway? What chapter hit home for you the most? Remember, growth happens when we reflect, take action, and stay connected to like-minded people. So stay focused, stay forward-thinking, and always keep building your solution-focused life, one step at a time. See you in the next one.